Good day, grade 10 learners. Welcome to our quarter to health lesson. For our second quarter, we will be discussing about various health trends, issues, and concerns in national level. The following objectives are: number 1, discusses the existing health-related laws. 2, explains the significance of the existing health-related laws in safeguarding people's health. 3, follows existing health-related laws. 4, critically analyzes the impact of current health trends, issues, and concerns. 5, recommends ways of managing health issues, trends, and concerns. Do you know any laws related to health? What are those? How can it affect you as an adolescent? Let us discuss some of these laws in the Philippines. We have number of laws related to health. In this topic, we will discuss these laws and their significance in the lives of every Filipino. The Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Law RA 10354, also known as RH Law, is composed of 4 pillars, namely informed choice, respect for life, birth control, and responsible parenthood. Let us discuss each of these pillars. As stated in the law, mothers shall informed with ethically and medically safe, legal, accessible, affordable, and effective reproductive health care services. Reproductive health and sexuality education shall also be taught in schools. As stated in the law, abortion is illegal and punishable by law. However, mothers who aborted a child shall still receive medical and counseling. She shall be handled in a human, non-judgmental, and compassionate manner. As stated in the law, reproductive health care, information, and supplies shall be available to all legal-aged citizens, especially the poor. The family planning method or preferences of the citizen shall also be respected. As stated in the law, the government shall inform couples on their responsibilities as parents, such as determining their ideal family size, family life, and reproductive health. Here's a brief explainer about RH Law so you'll know more about it. The next provision that we'll discuss is the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. This act states that there should be designated smoking areas only to protect other people from the dangers of secondhand smoking. Promotion and advertising of use of tobacco is prohibited. The packaging of cigarettes shall contain pictures and text explaining its risks. Cigarettes shall not be sold within 100 meters from areas with youth or children such as schools, playgrounds, etc. Another act related to health is the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. According to this act, there shall be no importing of dangerous drugs. Transport of essential chemicals shall be controlled. There shall be no selling of any dangerous drugs. Drug stands shall be raided. There shall be no manufacturing of dangerous drugs or the equipment used. Moreover, no one shall be caught possessing dangerous drugs and paraphernalia anytime at any occasion. Growing plants classified as dangerous drugs is prohibited. No one shall prescribe unnecessary use of dangerous drugs. Consumer Act Republic Act 7394 pushes to protect the interests of the consumer, promote consumer general welfare, and establish standards of conduct for business and industry. It protects people against health and safety hazards and deceptive sales through information dissemination and education. It also promotes proper exercise of the rights of a consumer. The Consumer Act revolves around the rights of consumers. To know more about the consumer rights, watch this video.
Consumer rights. The first consumer right is the right to basic needs, which guarantees survival, adequate food, clothing, shelter, health care, education, and sanitation. You may look forward to the availability of basic and prime commodities to consumer at affordable prices and of good quality. The second consumer right is the right to safety, which is the right to be protected against the marketing of goods or the provisions of services that are hazardous to health and life. You may look forward to extensive safety and performance testing before products are sold in the market. Labels which contain the proper info about products, how to operate it, if the need arises, and also precautions or warning signs. The third consumer right is the right to information, which is the right to be protected against dishonest or misleading advertising or labeling, and the right to be given the facts and information needed to make an informed choice. You may look forward to complete information about the product to be purchased, including its use, ingredients, chemical contents, precautions, if any, limitations, and expiry date. The fourth consumer right is the right to choose, which is the right to choose products at competitive prices with an assurance of satisfactory quality. You may look forward to a wide array of goods and services which are offered in the market with diverse brands, sizes, shapes, and colors, and with differences in the price, quality, and use. The fifth consumer right is the right to redress, which is the right to be compensated for misrepresentation, shoddy goods, or unsatisfactory services. You may look forward to when you bought shoddy goods or paid for unsatisfactory services. There are remedies available: repair, replace, or refund. The sixth consumer right is the right to representation, which is the right to express consumer interests in the making and execution of government policies. You may look forward to legislators would propose laws that would ensure that consumers have the chance to live a better life by getting the best value for their hard-earned peso. The seventh consumer right is the right to consumer education, which is the right to acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to be an informed customer. You may look forward to consumer education being integrated in school curriculum as mandated by RA number 7394 or the Consumer Act of the Philippines. The eighth consumer right is the right to a healthy environment, which is the right to live and work in an environment which is neither threatening nor dangerous and which permits a life of dignity and well-being. You may look forward to the government exerting an iron hand regarding the alarming increase in the degradation of the environment, especially our forest, dying wildlife, depleted landfill space, and environmental contamination to prevent further damage. In summary, the eight consumer rights are the right to basic needs, safety, information, choose, redress, representation, consumer education, and the right to a healthy environment.
National Environment Awareness and Education Act of 2008 R 9512 focuses on the protection of the environment. This act promotes environmental awareness. It also aims to educate people on the environmental laws, threats, and impacts to human beings. Moreover, it contains our responsibility to conserve, protect, and rehabilitate resources for sustainable development. The Philippine AIDS Prevention Act of 1998 pushes for a nationwide AIDS information and education program, safe practice and procedures testing, screening, counseling for citizens, maintaining the confidentiality of confirmed cases, and various programs for anti-discriminatory acts towards patients. Watch the video to know the recent updates on the Philippines AIDS Prevention Act.
Nilagdaan na ang implementing rules and regulations para sa batas na layong mas mabigyan ng importansya ang pagtugon sa kaso ng HIV sa ating bansa. Makatutulong din ito para maputol na ang diskriminasyon sa ating mga kababayang may HIV. May report si Kenneth Pasyente.
Taong 2015 nang madiagnose si Marlon, di niya tunay na pangalan na may Human Immunodeficiency Virus o HIV. Kwento niya, malaking dagok ito sa kanyang buhay lalo pat ang pamilya at mga kaibigang kanya sanang makakapitan, unti-unti siyang tinalikuran.
Ang sakit kasi sila yung mga taong pwede kong takbuhan. Sila yung pwede yung pagsabihan ng problema ko, pero sila pa yung taong lumayo.
Isa si Marlon sa mga Pilipinong patuloy na lumalaban sa naturang sakit. Pero sa labang ito, katuwang niya ang pamahalaan. Katunayan, pinirmahan na ng Department of Health at iba pang concerned agencies ang Implementing Rules and Regulation ng Republic Act 11166 o ang Philippine HIV and AIDS Policy Act. Kasunod nito, pagtutuunan din ng pansin ang kapakanan ng people living with HIV sa paniniguro na hindi makararanas ang mga ito ng anumang diskriminasyon sa lipunan. Ginagarantiya rin na makakahanap pa rin ng matiwasay na trabaho ang isang individual sa kabila ng HIV status nito.
Laboratory science has reduced HIV from being a death sentence that it used to be known to a manageable chronic condition. And the law now calls on all of us to perfect the science of delivering these technologies. After all, this is meant to benefit all Filipinos.
Isa pa sa pangunahing probisyon ng batas ay ang pagpayag sa mga menor de edad mula 15 hanggang 17 anyos na sumailalim sa HIV test kahit walang pahintulot ng nakatatanda o ng kanilang magulang. Sa ilalim ng batas, inatasan ng Philippine National AIDS Council o PNAC bilang overall in charge sa pagpapatupad ng AIDS Medium-Term Plan.
90% of all people living with HIV will know their status. 90% of all people living with HIV will receiving their therapy, the antiretrovirals. 90% receiving ART will be virally suppressed.
Nakatoka naman ang DOH na bumuo ng mga programa na makapagbibigay ng accessible treatment at medication para sa people living with HIV at AIDS. Habang ang Department of Social Welfare and Development ang gagawa ng care at support programs para sa mga ito, kabilang na ang counseling, social protection, welfare assistance at iba pa. Target ng kagawaran na magtuloy-tuloy pa ang pagbaba na ito sa tulong ng HIV and AIDS Policy Act. Kenneth Pasyente, para sa bayan.
The National Blood Services Act of 1990 for ARA 7719 aims to promote and encourage voluntary blood donation and to provide safe and affordable distribution of blood and blood products. To attain these, several efforts were pushed, such as the establishment of National Council for Blood Services, Philippine National Blood Services, blood banks and stations, and national reference laboratories for immunology and immunohematology. Authorized blood collection units and facilities were also provided. Seatbelts Use Act of 1999 R 8750 aims to secure both drivers and passengers from vehicular accidents. This act requires the mandatory wearing of seatbelts and prohibits children to sit in the front seat of any vehicle. Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 aims to protect every individual in the cyberspace. It prohibits cybersex, child pornography, unsolicited commercial communication, and computer-related identity theft. Watch the video to know more about the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. Click the link in the description below. The Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009 prohibits any representation by any means of child engaged or involved in sexual activities. Answer the following questions. Identify the law described. Now that you have a background about the laws, we will discuss the issues and concerns that these laws address. These are the issues and concerns addressed by the laws we have discussed. Can you identify which laws fall under these categories? These are the laws that address the specific issues and concerns. Now, let us have your final group activity.